But we begin tonight with 9 international Indian students who first came to us in September.
Hi, my name is Manoj.
Hi, this is Sunil.
Hi, I'm Raula from Hyderabad, India, and I have spent almost $20,000 to come here and settle my career, and now it's all like a nightmare.
I spent more than $23,000 to study in New Zealand.
I have spent nearly $20,000 to be here in the New Zealand.
Hello, my name is Charan. I'm from India, Hyderabad.
I spent like $25,000 for a year.
$20,500, and I got a deportation letter.
9 of several hundred Indian students facing uncertain futures because of rogue education agents in India touting tertiary institutes here in New Zealand. Their lawyer made applications for a stay on their deportation orders. Those applications have just been declined. All 9 have today been told to leave the country. Alistair McClymont is their lawyer. He explains the circumstances that led to his clients being attracted to New Zealand in the first place.
Well, he applied for a student visa from India. The agent created some fraudulent documents, submitted them in with the application so that the agent could be paid a commission by the New Zealand school. About a year later, Immigration New Zealand discovered that there was a fraudulent document, and now they're seeking to deport him. And today, the Minister of Immigration has said no, they will have no sympathy for him and his colleagues, and they need to go immediately.
OK, I'm interested. So the agent behaved fraudulently. That's not a dispute.
That's not a dispute. Immigration New Zealand recognise that. They've got publicly available documents that identify who the agents were, and they agree that the agents created all of the fraudulent documents.
OK. Did your client, the student Manoj, did he behave fraudulently? Has anyone been able to determine that?
Nobody has been able to determine that. He denies any knowledge about the fraudulent documents, and Immigration New Zealand have not at any stage said that he knew about it. They simply said he must take responsibility for it.
So if he hadn't used a person who behaved fraudulently, would he have had what was required to be here as a student normally? Does he satisfy the criteria?
Yes, I mean, the only issue is about whether or not he had sufficient funds to study in New Zealand. He did have sufficient funds, but they were through quite complicated arrangements with money from various families.
As is often the case with
which is almost always the case in India.
Okay. So there is no evidence Manoj behaved fraudulently. He was able to satisfy the criteria to study in New Zealand. So he is being deported because the professional he sought out in good faith, because there is no evidence to the contrary, behaved fraudulently.
Correct. The agent of the school, who is still operating today in India as we are speaking.
How many other students do you know of who are in a similar situation?
Well, Immigration New Zealand identified approximately 300 through these particular group of agents in Hyderabad. We've had dozens who have come to us, and they're at different stages of the process of trying to fight it. Today, we simply had a group of 9 who had appealed to the Minister of Immigration, who have now been told to leave.
OK, so that group of 9 have all been told to leave. There's been no exceptions. No one has overcome this order to depart.
No, well, I mean, some of them through other avenues have had some limited success, but then Immigration New Zealand also seem to be fighting against that. For example, we've had someone who appealed to the Immigration Protection Tribunal on humanitarian grounds.
Okay.
The tribunal agreed that they should be able to stay and finish their qualification. Now the Immigration New Zealand are challenging that in the High Court.
Okay.
Too.
I want to see what is the government case against these people, but it is not a case ever made explicitly, but I've heard it made, and it's been made directly to me on this program via a kind of innuendo. And that is that these people must have known that they were using agents who behaved fraudulently, and they knew it.
You know, John, I don't think they're even going that far. Really what they're saying is that, look, someone has to be responsible, and the applicants must be responsible for everything that happens in their application, regardless of whether they knew about it or not. So they're not even going as far as saying that they must have known. They just simply say, well, look, somebody has to take responsibility for this, and the applicant is the person who's going to take responsibility.
Right. So Manoj leaves New Zealand with what? Does he have his qualification?
Look, out of these groups, some of them have completed the qualification, some of them have not completed the qualification. But remember, these students are lured to New Zealand not through simply completing a qualification. They're lured here by the promise of being able to work after completing the qualification for a period of up to 3 years. And that's the thing that encourages so many of the students to come here.
You say lured. Who's doing the luring?
Everybody is. The Immigration New Zealand have it on their own website. Education New Zealand have it on their own websites. The agents promote this. The representatives of the school promote this. Immigration New Zealand in India promote this. Everybody's promoting this in India. That's how they get students from India.
So you are suggesting that this is a situation where the people who are providing the education and the people who are allowing for the provision of the education are what? Cavalier, reckless?
Well, yes, that could certainly be one of the allegations put to Immigration New Zealand, where they, allow these agents to continue operating, and the government is allowing every single agency to continue to promote New Zealand education.
And this is a business with hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Yes.
And when the proverbial hits the fan,
it's the applicant's fault. It's the student's fault. Everything is the student's fault.
Alistair McClymont, lawyer for 9 international Indian students now facing deportation. They have received the letter telling them to go. As Alistair said, one of his clients is Manoj Nara. Manoj borrowed thousands of dollars from his parents to get to New Zealand in an effort to become the only member of his family with a tertiary education. This morning he was told he's now liable for deportation and should make arrangements to leave the country. A short time ago he was here in the office, very upset at the shame it will bring him because he will have been deported, which will restrict his ability to study anywhere else or in fact go anywhere else, and the dread of returning to India to start from zero.
What's my life next? Where do I have to go? They grab my money from in the polite way. They taken my money from my parents and my fees and taxes everywhere. I was in a good. Why can't they excuse this? And even though I'm requesting them to make me eligible to apply another student visa, at least that can I prove myself, even though they are not giving any options and they are simply saying that you have to go. It's very painful situation to me at the moment. Not only me, there are so many students of. Sorry.
That's Manoj Nara, who is facing deportation. In fact, he has been told to leave the country. We'd love to hear what you think about all of this. The buck is well and truly stopping with the students. The only people who have been proven to have behaved fraudulently were in fact the agents. Please tell us what you think. Text us on 2101, email checkpoint@radionz.co.nz, and of course we are on Facebook and Twitter.